Hello, everybody.
Oh, hi, everybody.
Hey, what's going on? I'm Casey, the Space Shaman.
Space Shaman. And I'm Anthony.
And I'm Mary.
And we're the Positive Pineapple.
Welcome.
Welcome.
So we were just talking right before we got on stream. Something I never thought about is like the whole, COVID thing. People are wearing masks, so people who are hearing impaired who rely on reading lips can't do that right now. So that's got to be a really weird thing. But I was just telling them. I used to love this YouTube channel. It was called Bad Lip Readings. I don't know. Have you guys ever heard of it or seen any videos?
I have not.
No.
Okay, so this backstory is this guy, his grandmother or something was deaf and was deaf from birth, I think, and would read lips. And so just hanging out with his grandma and getting to know her, she started to kind of teach him to read lips, but something would happen. And he tried his best to actually learn how to read lips from his grandma who had to read lips. And she was explaining to him how to do it, all this stuff. But every time he would try and read someone's lips, it would just come out as like complete nonsensical English that made no sense. So he decided to make a YouTube channel where he takes movie clips, TV shows, all this stuff. And he just, whatever he's hearing happen when he reads those lips, he just dubs over the footage of him doing it. And it's hilarious. It's like these videos are so funny. Like, it'll be people just, so you hear like, it's like it'll do it with the president and stuff too. So it'll be like Trump or Biden or whoever like talking. And then it's just them talking about like, I got some hot dogs yesterday and there was a turd on the ground but you're hearing it come, but the lip syncing matches up perfectly to what they're saying.
I love this.
It's hilarious. Just fascinating how some people's brains work like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's a big difference. Like, so for me, when I was kind of hearing impaired for a while, it's a little bit different when you have to learn to read lips out of leisure or have to learn to read lips out of survival. So when it's mode of survival, I think the brain reacts a little bit different. That's what I'm sensing from what you're telling me about the other guy. So basically, if he started plugging his ears, I think if he started cutting off his ability to hear and had to read for a while, I think it would click right in. That sense would become a lot more acute, way faster, I think.
Yeah, well, because the real thing is the same way for me. Because I would listen to, I used to do this for fun when I was a kid. Because there were movies that we would watch and stuff, and we'd press it on mute on the TV and we'd just watch, and then we'd try to figure out what they were saying, and we'd like just dub over it for fun, like as we were watching TV, because we had nothing better to do. But same thing whenever I've tried to actually read someone's lips, I'm sitting there legitimately trying to figure out what they're saying, and it's the same as like this guy, the bad lip readings. It just comes out as total nonsensical English in my head. I don't know if it is.
It's fun because you can make it whatever you want too. Just like you're talking about those videos where people like they'll take the lip reading and then they line up new words to it. Like it looks totally legit. Like, wow, is that what they really said?
Right. Yeah. It's crazy.
Or it can be totally ridiculous.
It could be. It's ridiculous. I can tell you it's ridiculous when you actually can't hear and you're trying to communicate with people. Like it was like that for me for over a decade. It was about a decade, and it slowly was getting worse until things changed and I began to heal. It was pretty bad. I couldn't hear, like I was consistently what? Someone would say something like, what? And then sometimes I would be able to figure out what they said because from the parts I did hear and what I did see of their lips, I'd be able to put it together. So by the time I say what and they were getting ready to respond, I already what happened. Yeah. And so now I got to wait. So I try to train myself not to say what too quickly. Like they'll talk, but then there's a pause and they're looking at you and there's this weird pause because I'm letting it happen. And then they're like, are you okay?
Like, hey, do you want a donut? What? I said, do you want to? No, I would not like a donut. Well, but thank you for asking me 1.5 times though.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you. 1.5. Thank you. Yeah. So that was actually a habit. After a while, it was like a habit. And then I started being able to hear, and that was really intense. I was like, wow, I can hear. And then so I started learning. So I'm still in the process of still teaching myself to not have to read lips all the time. Like it's still like we were talking about before we got on camera here. I was talking about how I still find myself having to try not to read lips. I'll be looking in someone's eyes and then I'll float down to the mouth. I'll realize, oh, I'm looking at your mouth. Let me read your eyes. And I start looking that way. And that's how we got into the conversation about this time with COVID. How do people that rely, for a long time, I relied on reading lips. I'm not sure how I react. I know it does. It's very noticeable to me. Like I'll notice when people talk and it's muffled, I try to read lips, but then, oh, I can't see your lips. And then all I hear is mama.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like having one of your senses taken away in a sense. So this brings up a really interesting thing. I remember watching Star Trek: The Next Generation, and there's this character Deanna Troi, and on the show she's like the psychologist of the Enterprise, the starship, and she's an empath. So she's from this planet of beings who have empathic abilities, and like that's their whole thing. And like, well, they're telepaths, but she's half from this race and half like human or something like that, I think. So she, instead of being a telepath, she's an empath, and she's can feel everyone's emotions and everything. And there's one episode where something happens to her and she loses her ability to feel the energy and the emotions of people around her. And so at first there's like a moment where she's like, oh, it's like so quiet, it's just me. And then so there's a bit where she kind of is like enjoying it, but then she'd be like in a room and someone walks in and is like, hey, and she just jumps. And she starts to get freaked out by every little thing because she's used to being able to feel the emotions and energy of everyone around her. So she doesn't have it. So every little thing is like startling her. And she's like, I need to be able to feel everyone. Like that's just what she's used to. So that was really interesting. And I remember watching this special about people who only had vision in one eye. Like there was just something wrong with, I don't know, it was like the cornea or the optic nerve or something in one eye. So they only had vision in one eye. So they had no depth perception. And then they developed this new technology where they could correct and give them vision in the other eye, which they never had from birth. So never had depth perception. And then they were given this surgery, and then they can see suddenly with depth perception through both eyes. And these people freak out. They're like this is what normal people see. This is crazy. And some of them actually chose to go back and have the surgery undone because it was so uncomfortable.
Wow. Yeah, I could imagine.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be a huge change, something like that. Huge change. Yeah.
And so you imagine, for this is why a lot of people going through powerful spiritual awakenings and these experiences sometimes shut down or end up going to the hospital and being put on medications and all this stuff.
Trying to go back, and you can't. Once you come out, you can't go back.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Right. It doesn't work that way. But it's extreme, especially if it comes on quickly or abruptly in a way. That's a huge
and we're in a
change.
time right now where that's kind of happening to people. I saw one lady a couple weeks ago have like this just amazing, like spontaneous awakening happen. She basically came on and asked me, she sent me some messages asking me, hey, I'm not sure how to feel. I'm like, well, what do you mean? She's like, well, I woke up this morning and I've spent most of what I can remember of my life, even since childhood, I've been loaded with anxiety. I've just been full of anxiety, constant overthinking. And I woke up this morning and it's just not there. And all I can do is sit here and wonder, and I'm waiting now. I find myself waiting for it to come back. And she's like, what do you think I should do? I was like, well, you could just go with it. She's like, oh, she didn't even consider that possibility. Well, you could just go with it. You could just let it see where it takes you. Yeah. And as far as I know, she still it just went away. Just an awakening. The voice stopped in the head. She does no longer identify with her thinking. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. So I have to imagine there's other people that's happening to in this time of mass awakening. There's people just coming right in, because that's all I see. I mean, how many clients do you see weekly that are just loaded with anxiety, and what it's connected to is their energetic sensitivity?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and well, there's a couple of points. First, before I touch on that, I wanted to say that for a lot of people, that is their first reaction because they haven't been taught anything else, or they've been indoctrinated to believe that having this kind of powerful spiritual experience is insanity or like the devil's work or something like that. So I remember I'll never forget this. A friend of mine who I'd known for a number of years, and the whole time I knew him, I had this sense that he was in the process of, he was about to wake up at some point. I could see all these signs and things. I never said anything. I never was like, hey, this is about to happen to you. The spirit was like, you just need to let
Yeah, don't say that.
Yeah. So I just kind of sat back and watched him. And then there was a period of a time for, I think about a year, where I didn't talk to him. Everyone kind of got busy from that friend group. I didn't hear from him. And then one day, I hadn't talked to him in about a year. And then I just thought, you know what? I'm going to call Jameson and see if he wants to go get some Chinese buffet. Because we used to love going to this Chinese buffet. So I'm just going to call him up, see if he wants to get some Chinese food. So I called him up and I'm like, hey, Jameson, what's going on? And he just goes, I don't know, man. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, tell me what's going on. He's like, well, I don't think I would share this with anyone else, but I think I can share this with you, but I have no idea what just happened to me. It's like last night, I was over at our mutual friend's house and we were just sitting there. And then all of a sudden, like, everything in the room changed. Everything looked different. And instead of being my friends, it was like these two alien beings that were talking to me. And they asked me if I wanted to like leave this planet or if I wanted to go back and all this crazy stuff. And then I snapped back and then I had to drive home, and it was a 5-minute drive home, but it felt like 100 years. And there were all these like incredible like fractal patterns and visuals and things. And he's like, I think I may have had like a stroke or something. I need to go to the hospital. And I was like, Jameson, I'm like, listen to me. You just had a spiritual awakening. If you don't have to take my word for it, go online, look up spiritual awakening, spiritual emergency, all this stuff, and just research it on your own. But I'm telling you, this is what happened. You're not crazy. You just suddenly came online. You suddenly had an awakening. The spirits took you. There's actually a term for it in shamanism in some cultures. The rough translation is being abducted by the spirits,
right?
Or the spirits taking. They basically don't give you a choice. So like, you're waking up now, dude, whether you like it or not.
Now's the time.
So that happened to him, and so I talked to him I think I was on the phone with him for like 2 or 3 hours, just kind of calming him down. And I brought his attention. I'm like, feel your body. Does your body feel different? He's like, yeah, I don't know how to explain it. I'm like, does it feel more kind of like tingly, buzzy or something? He's like, yeah, my whole body's like really tingly. It feels weird. I'm like, that's energy. I'm like, now bring your attention. I was like guiding him through, like, I'm like, watch, you can move it with your attention. And he's like, this is really weird, man. So we got off the phone. And then he messages me a few hours later. He's like, I've been researching spiritual awakening. All this stuff that they're talking about is everything that's happened to me. I had a dark night of the soul. I didn't even know that was a thing. And that happened to me right before this happened. And so he will from time to time tell me, he's like, you saved my life. He's like, I would have gone to the hospital. They would have put me on all these medications, all this stuff that happened, but I was there, and so that's the spirit came through and told, I didn't know it, but spirit was like, you need to call him. It's time for you to guide him through this experience. And I'm so grateful to be that for the people that come to me for that, because it's not just him. It's been a lot of people since then. And because I didn't have anyone like that when I went through my awakening.
You weren't meant to.
Right, because if I had, then I wouldn't be able to provide this.
Then you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be this, and then you wouldn't have helped him. See, it all works together. All our medicine works together. So so it's like you're right there for him and for you in that moment. It's like, wow, we're so like lucky this happened, but that's just what was meant to happen. It's perfect in every way. How perfect! What I love seeing that. I love hearing stories like that, and I love seeing that. Recognizing the perfection in every moment, seeing how it all works together, even when you can't tell that's what's happening when it's happening.
Yeah.
And you stand back like, wow, what a beautiful masterpiece. What a beautiful masterpiece.
It is. I like the analogy of it being like a clock. Like all these little individual pieces have to work together perfectly, and they have to be fit in the right way just to make this little face thing.
Yeah. That's what happens.
And the same thing with reality. It's like all this stuff is happening. Every event from the birth of the universe, every subatomic particle that collided with another one and sent it flying at the speed of light through space and time, and the stars exploding, and the birth of our planet, and every creature that ever mated with another creature and led up to it, all conspired to bring about this moment right here, right now, exactly as it is.
Precision perfection. That's pretty much all I really see. And the more I go into that, and the more I allow myself to open up and see the perfection in all things, it just melts away any other kind of thinking, any other kind of overthinking just goes away, because you become acceptant of everything that happens around you. Every single thing. Like, I'm so glad this is happening. And even the shit that sucks when it's happening, it's like, man, this sucks, but I bet something awesome is going to happen. It's going to be born from this. Right. Especially because it's like always, destruction's the mother of creation. Whenever you see some sort of destruction, even if it's your own breakdown in some way, it always leads to that new growth. Yeah. Some new growth comes out of it. I'm always fully acceptant of that. I think that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. But for like your friend, like that I couldn't imagine having that quick of an awakening. Yeah, that's how intense that would be. Because I'll sit here sometimes and think about it. I think it was this morning. I think I was sitting there. I was just doing like a spiritual practice, and I could feel all the tingling, basically all the hair on my body stand up. Stuff that I was like, man, my old self, my pre-awakening, I would have been terrified. Like, what the hell is wrong? What's wrong with me? Oh, yeah, I'm so scared. I used to be afraid, like even before I was awake, when I would have interaction with spirit, when I didn't know what it was. And then you get the chills, the feeling, you can tell there's something with you or something watching you kind of thing. You get that feeling and you don't know what that is. And it scares the shit out of you. And now when it happens, I don't even have to open my vision. I'm just fully aware and feel. Instead of worry, I feel, and then I know what it is.
Yeah, I have that thought a lot because when I had my awakening was very sudden as well. It was like near-death experience, and boom, can feel all this stuff, and
not to mention you were a child.
Yeah, I was very young. I was I don't know. I was like
you were like 13 or 14. Yeah, you're a kid. You're a child. Yeah, you're an absolute child. You're at the beginning of adolescence. I don't even want to know it. I mean, that had to have been torturous, man. That had to have been something amazingly torturous.
But you know what? There were experiences back then that sent me into immense fear and like led me to freak out to the point of being hospitalized and all this stuff. I've had experiences just over at your guys' place that sensation wise and visually and everything were more intense than those experiences that I had back then.
Yeah.
The difference is now I have awareness.
Yeah. You were, nothing was wrong before. We were just unconscious. That's all.
Yeah. Unconscious and suddenly had all the abilities of a conscious person. Turned on.
I mean, because even for me, I think at the rate in which I grew for a lot of people would be very, very stressful. Because one, it wasn't just my awakening. It wasn't just my awareness to I'm one with all things. It went far beyond that. My energy sensitivity, all kinds of things came online for me really quick. But I was ready for it. I was really ready for it. But also, I'm 45 years old, and I've had a lot of experience in this reality. So I think that's a big thing. But for people that have, like you're a kid that happened, or your friend, and it's like, wow, I'm not sure what's going on. All this, I couldn't imagine what that's like, because everything he described is just energy sensitivity. It just all of a sudden comes online. You're going to totally think you've lost your mind, or you've had, like he said, I had a stroke or a seizure or something.
Yeah. I think he told me later, because I told him all this and he believed me, but there was still that part of his mind that couldn't let it. So he actually got a CAT scan, and it came back. They're like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with your brain.
Perfect. Then it affirms for him. It's kind of confirmation.
Right.
How cool is that?
Yeah, it's amazing. And just the experiences that we're able to have on a day-to-day basis are, nothing short of as more incredible than any kind of fantasy movie or novel or anime or anything you could watch. Just our daily, I can go over to my bed right next to me. I can lay down and I can travel through the cosmos. I can go to any universe, any planet that I want. And just that alone is like one of the coolest things ever. And I've been getting back into shamanic journeying, which is one of my absolute favorite practices. I think in terms of being a human being, having a physical body, breathwork is like A1 in terms of being one of the most powerful healing tools for yourself and others. But I think as a spiritual being in general, shamanic journeying is probably the most powerful tool that every single spirit, whether you're incarnate or not, has access to. It's the ability to go anywhere, anytime, traverse the multiverse, go to any universe that you want in any body that you want, and just have an infinite number of experiences. And if you're a healer, this is immensely powerful because, say, for example, someone comes to you and they've got some illness, like there's some stomach thing that's really hurting them. They've been to the doctor can't figure it out. They've been to a Reiki healer, the Reiki healer couldn't fix it. So you as a shaman have the ability to journey. So you go, okay, well, what is the medicine for this? Well, let me go searching through the entirety of creation, the whole multiverse. And maybe you go, maybe it's somewhere in the upper world, one of the infinite number of universes in the upper world. On this one particular planet, there's a fruit off of this tree, and that fruit off of that tree contains the medicine that will fix this thing. But you can go there, bring it back, and then energetically give them this fruit, and then that will heal them. So you know what I mean? You have the access to an infinite amount of medicine, and not just in the form of like spiritual or energetic or physical plants and things like this, but the medicine could be, hey, there's this being from Rivendell, like the place that I go, the land of the elves. They're not really elves. They don't call themselves that. That's what I call them because I don't know. I can't pronounce their actual names. But, maybe one of those healers there has a particular ancient magic technique they've been practicing for thousands of years. And that's the exact medicine that this person needs to get over their anxiety. So you have access to that when you learn to shamanic journey, when you learn how to do that. And everyone can do it. And most people learn how to do it when they're really young, when they're a kid. They just come across it by accident, just going off on adventures and their imagination,
right? We're not cut off from it.
I was talking about that this morning on my breath live stream. I was talking about how connecting to your imagination will connect you to your energy is what it'll do. It's because that's what the main thing that cuts us off from it. That's the main control aspect that cuts us off from our knowing, from our connection to what we are, is being told from a young age that anything you perceive outside of what everyone else is telling you what reality is your imagination. So if you have friends or conversations, or you go on a journey, you go somewhere like, oh, think of all the places I think back of all the places I went and saw when I was a little kid. And I come back and tell one of my parents, and you just stop wanting to talking to them about it either, because they're just telling you like, well, don't pay attention to that. That's your imagination, not open to explore with you. No. So imagine, I think that's going to be great as this world expands and more people are awake and get into shamanic journeying. And that's just one word for it. You can call it, some people are uncomfortable with the word shaman or shamanic. They're uncomfortable with that, but it's just journeying. That's all it is. Yeah. It's you going on a journey within your energy, within your spirit. Because even when I call in medicine, sometimes I do my journey that way, but more times than not, what I do is I actually shift into a spirit form and I actually move into the field of energy and I ask the energy to bring me the medicine. Could you bring me the medicine needed for this? And then it'll kind of show me where to go look. I won't have to actually search and go places. And then I'll end up with a being or something else that shows me, or we trade something for it, or I figure out something else. And even during healings, I mean, look how often as shamans, how we actually journey during our healings. Like we're journeying while it's happening. We're here with our client. But what happens is we take off journeying and we're making all kinds of back deals and all kinds of things with different things, getting things together and creating healing, not just for that person, but even other beings out here, because that's connected to this. And you can tell you're making like a deal, like, oh, I see there's some imbalance here. So if we kind of trade this and do that, and whatever it turns out to be the story and the journey, that's what it is. You're trading in stuff and then just creating coherence. You're creating organization in some way. And that's where that journey really is super important, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Big time. And that's another. A lot of people have misconceptions when they hear about journeying or they get into journeying. The biggest one is that they think you're like asleep or something,
right?
That you have to be, or that you have to be in such a deep meditative state that like you can't move and like you're not aware of your body at all or anything. Yeah. So I can be sitting here talking to you guys doing this podcast and I can go off and journey at the same time. You know what I mean? But or I can. If I choose to, I can really relax my body and become mostly not aware of it and be almost fully there in spirit.
Right. However you want it to be. It can be as tuned or untuned as you want to. I think that's amazing. It's a form of bilocation. I'm positive of that.
Yeah. This was I went on a journey last night, and it was more of like a just kind of catching up with my guides, more so than like actually getting anything really done. It was just kind of hanging out, just being and enjoying. But I went to this particular forest that I like to visit in spirit. So in physical reality, I'm just laying in my bed, but I got there in spirit. And the first thing I noticed, it's been a while since I'd been to this particular place and been with my angels here. And at first thing I noticed, I was like, wow, I'm like, everything's like really vivid right now. I'm like, it's like I'm really here. And then I was flying with them over this forest and all that stuff. And as we were flying, we were communicating. And I can't remember what I said, but I said something along the lines of like how I'm like, it'd be really cool if while I was incarnate here, I could fully like be here and not be aware of the physical at all, and just have this be my physical reality, and then like choose to go back. And then one of my angels is like, well, what's stopping you from doing that?
Yeah, right.
And then I was like, huh.
So what is the answer you came up with? What did you find? What was stopping you? What were you afraid was going to happen if you decided for that to be? Or did you there was no fear. It was just it was just kind of conditioning, and how my experience had been in the past. And so I just kind of realized, oh, I do have a choice right now. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to be, and I still wasn't like not aware of my body at all. There were moments where I wasn't aware of my body at all, but it got to the point where we were flying, we got down, landed on this beach. We were sitting there, and I remember I put my hand in this journey in the sand, could feel every little grain of sand went in my hand like this. And I looked at, I could pull apart and just see one singular grain of sand, like that fine of detail. And then the water, I was sitting at the edge of the shore where the waves were rushing and feeling the water come over my hands and my waist and stuff. And like, it was just so incredible. I mean, I was there.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I was there.
If I want to be.
Oh yeah. And we just hung out on the beach, and we were talking and giving each other shit and just joking and hanging out. And it was like a good time. We were just talking and hanging out. And that's the thing, it's journeying, especially, it shouldn't be a serious thing. It shouldn't be journeying like, oh, I need to connect with my guides and save the world and go on these important adventures. It's like, no, the more you can just relax and allow it to be puklei, play, the more.
And that's funny too. I talked about that this morning too. We're on the same page here, fella. How beautiful is that? Puklei, beautiful. I'm sorry, continue.
Yeah, but when you come at it with the energy of play instead of seriousness, then things flow so much more effortlessly, so much more easily. Yeah. So that, I mean, I had no objective. I wasn't trying to heal for myself or anyone else. I wasn't trying to go anywhere or do anything. It was literally just, I want to hang out with my angel friends and reconnect, because it's been a little while since I've really talked to them. So we're just sitting on the beach, hanging out, talking. Everything was so vivid, so clear. The communication, I mean, it was, the communication from them was as vivid and real as any conversation I've had with any human.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I could hear their voices, and the communication was happening. They were talking to me in English and everything. And yeah, it was just pure. And there's, mind you, there's 5 of us here all talking to each other and going back and forth at once, and this is shit that, as much as, I am a very powerful conscious creator, there are times where I go, my human brain just isn't capable of that much processing.
Limited.
You know what I mean? So but in this space, I was like, it's just, it's, 5 personalities all talking, interacting, communicating this very, very dynamic way. And it was incredible. And it had been a while since I journeyed like that. So it really reminded me, like, wow, I can do this anytime. Anytime I have a few minutes, I can lay down and just have these beautiful experiences. And wow, is that just the coolest thing ever, just to have access? And I remember I was talking to them, and I was like, dude, who needs VR? Who needs virtual reality? Like, I've got this. I've got real reality, man. This is way cooler.
That's what virtual reality is for, is to keep you trapped from discovering that.
Yeah.
That's part of its design.
I did have that thought. Actually.
That's what it's for. It's part of the prison. Yeah, taking you away. It's taking you the opposite way. It's offering the same thing in an opposite way, but you're never getting to know yourself.
Right.
You never know who you are then. And then that's also the reason why why spiritual practices work better when you're not so serious. When it's buklei, it's because it's a different vibration. When you're serious, it's a smaller, lower wavelength. So when you're full of play or gratefulness, whatever it is, a higher spiritual vibration, you got this bigger wavelength, and you actually take in more information that way. A lot more information from the field around you.
Which is the same as it's hucha and sami, tension and relaxation. When you're serious, there's a tenseness about being serious. You're clenched. And so the energy can't flow through. So if things are tight and clenched and heavy, then the life force, the spirit, can't flow through as easily. If you're relaxed, playful,
flows easy that way. Clenched.
Well, it depends. Well, see, that's a balance.
I understand.
Pooping is a balance between hucha and sami. It's a real lesson, because part of your bodies have to be tense and in hucha, but then other parts of your body have to be in sami and relaxed.
See, only really skillful people can put poop into spiritual talk.
Well, I love how Casey said it's a real lesson.
It's a real lesson. I like how you put that in there. That's fabulous and beautiful.
It's a real lesson. Pooping.
See, that's buklei. For people watching, that's buklei. Just having fun.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. If you can bring conscious awareness even into your pooping experience, then you've really reached a certain level of awareness, I think.
That's right.
Oh, man.
I love it.
I'm not even going there.
Hey, man, why don't you take us on a little breath work, man? I'm ready to breathe. I've done some work and stuff today, and I haven't breathed since this morning, and I'm ready to oxygenate, man. How about you?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's throw up a little banner while we're at it.
Yeah. Here, you can share.
It's okay.
Share my chair.
Share your chair.
All right. So we're gonna let's see. What do I want to do, even, man? I like my modified contrast breathing combined with pineapple breath. So
I like that too.
It's a 3-part breath. The space breath. So 3 parts. Smell the flower, cool the soup. In through the nose, out through pursed lips. Second part is double sniff with a sigh on the exhale. First sniff pops the belly, and then the second sniff fills the rest of your lungs, and then you sigh on the exhale. And then the third part, really easy, just in and out through the mouth. But there's a twist.
Oh,
wait! So we're going to start out with each of these 3 parts. We're going to go from slow breathing into doubling the speed. And then we'll do the next part slow, and then double the speed, and the next part slow.
I love contrast variable speed breathing. It's fantastic.
So for everyone,
it's a little advanced. So you do want to tell your people who are watching. So whoever is new to breath work, this is pretty advanced. Okay, this is more of an advanced breath work. You want to, Casey's going to tell you, like I'm going to tell you, you want to be sit down, fully supported. You don't want to be sitting, walking, driving, anything like that. But I remember the last time we did this, that was an awareness I had. It's like, for some people, this is going to make them really freaked out, because this. You want to I think we should tell people ahead of time, like, hey, this is an advanced technique. This isn't a beginner technique. This is a little more advanced.
Yeah. I actually have a client that kind of fell off of her breath work, and then she's gotten back into it. But she's told me, she said, I can't get myself to the point of feeling like the tingliness and the lightheadedness and stuff anymore. So I actually took her through contrast breathing, and she got it right into it.
It's like exercise. It adds intensity, right?
Yeah.
Like you're adding intensity. It's like adding weight, adding repetitions, adding distance to your running, whatever it is. The same breathing's the same way. You can add to it, right?
Well, I could tell that she was basically telling herself like she was never going to get back there. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to try to get her back there so that I could break that barrier for her and that limit for her, because she was convincing herself that it was just done for. She wasn't there anymore.
It doesn't work anymore. That's it.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah.
She was chasing the breathwork dragon. The breathwork dragon.
Yeah. The air dragon.
Yeah.
The air dragon. Yeah. I can't get that. I just can't get high on my own supply anymore, man. I just need to get high on my own supply. Come on,
man. You always can. And so what's more in her way than her breathing is her thinking. It's the incessant thinking is what the problem is. She's used to the breath taking creating that space where the thinking goes away.
Right.
So you don't really need so much to increase the intensity to get the effect. That happens with your will. You'll need the increased intensity to overcome the thinking that didn't happen in the first cycles.
Right.
So I have a question, because I've noticed this. We were breathing together yesterday. We're all sitting in a circle doing this healing exercise, and we did a couple of rounds of breathing. And in the first 2 rounds, we did more breathing and more intense breathing in the first round. The last one was just a really short, quick one. But that was the biggest blast off I had, was the one with less breathing and less intensity. I blasted off way harder.
More energy.
Yeah.
Our collective energy was bigger. It was all coming together. I could see and feel this huge column in the middle of the room, like came up like a tree. We were brought around and inside of this big bubble. Like, so yeah, it's a morphic field. Like you're actually, you know that. I mean, but for anybody else, like breathwork is a morphic field. Every time you make the intent to sit down and breathe, focus, consciously breathe, you're adding more power and energy to the capability of the medicine within breathing. We all are.
Yeah, big time. I feel that, and I that's why I think it hit me so hard the first few times I started breathing on stream, and why I like passed out on stream.
Yeah,
a couple times, because it was I had the awareness that I'm not only, it's not just me here breathing by myself, it's everyone watching, plus everyone who will watch at any point in the future. And I wasn't used to that. I didn't know how to kind of ground that in yet. And so it just hit me. I was doing my normal amount of breathing that I normally do, that would normally just kind of, I feel my sensation. But it was like, boom, it just hit me. And I went, out.
Dude, we need is there a clip available? Do you have a clip available? We need to get a clip on here to show people what we need to say is when we're doing the disclaimer, like, listen, you want to sit, lay down, do whatever, otherwise this will happen. Clicks over and you're like,
it's somewhere. It's somewhere on Stir Crazy Shaman's YouTube channel.
All right, well, we need to find that clip, because it was great. I watched it 4 or 5 times, and every time it just made me laugh my ass off. Like, look, he left. He's gone. Because you were in that chair, you're like, and you didn't know it was coming. You were sitting there, and then your eyes got really glazy, and they kind of just rolled back in your head. And you're like, I did. You came back, and then you came right back, but you were looking around like,
where am I?
You're all kinds of things happen. Where am I? How long have I been gone? Oh shit, I'm on a live stream.
All of those all at once. Yes.
The clip would be great for explaining why you must sit down, because a lot of people I'm not sure really listen to that. They're like, it's fucking breathing, whatever. Like, well, this could happen, and this is experience. This is a person that's experienced in breath work as well. Wow.
I like that idea, and we could. There's a way we could actually play that with StreamYard too.
We could put it in the brand and make a clip. Beautiful. But that's gonna happen. We're finding that. That's our homework. We're gonna find that clip.
All right, let's do it. All right, so going back, backtracking a little bit.
Breathing.
The pineapple breath. So anyway, smell the flower, cool the soup, double sniff, sigh in the exhale, in and out through the mouth, going from slow to fast. For everyone who's ready to follow along, just make sure you're fully supported, lying down ideally, especially if it's your first time, or fully supported on a big comfy couch, or the worst thing that happens if you did get dizzy and pass out or something, you'll be supported and nothing will happen. Don't do the standing or driving or anything crazy like that. So for all those who are ready, starting out with smell the flower, cool the soup, in 3, 2, 1.
And a little tip for anybody watching, don't be afraid to move your spine a little bit. Moving that spine and having intent of using your stomach muscles and your respiratory muscles to be a pump. Imagine yourself pumping energy, light, frequency, blood, lymph, cerebral spinal fluid into the brain. This will bring you great, great health, especially with the brain.
Yeah, so if you notice, as I'm moving like this, I'm not moving my shoulders up and down. This is my spine arching back and forth, exactly like Tony's talking about.
Expansion, contraction. Yeah.
few more breaths. Just keep breathing. Three more. And double your speed. Nose is burning. Double sniff slowly. Go fully into all the sensations you're feeling, the tingling, the lightheadedness. Make it stronger. Three more. Double your speed. Hit it out through the mouth. Three more. Two. One. Double your speed. Deep breath fully in. Hold. Exhale to a neutral lung. And feel all of the beautiful sensations in your body, holding your breath. If you haven't already, exhale, because I blasted off and forgot where we are. If not, exhale and hold on the exhale.
We're going to inhale.
Okay.
We're on the exhale.
Okay. Hold as long as you comfortably can. If you need to breathe before we do, that's okay. If not, just breathe when we all breathe. Deep breath fully in. More air. More. Relax your neck and shoulders and hold. Slowly exhale. And just take a moment to observe all of the sensations in your body. What I'd like you to do is take note of how your body feels right now. Just check in with yourself. Give your body some attention. It loves the attention. Feel your body fully. Does it feel more relaxed? Does it feel more alive? Does it feel warm, cool, tingly? Whatever sensations are present, just feel those fully. You may hear a little bit of an audible tone in your head, a ringing. That's your neurology, your nervous system lighting up, your energy moving way faster than it's used to, far more light in your body. Just hear that beautiful tone, feel the tingling, the aliveness, the relaxation, whatever sensations are present, just feel them without judging them. Just notice them purely for whatever they are and however they're showing up right here and right now. Feel them fully. And give a little thanks for whatever it is you're grateful for. This breathing, the way you feel right now, that's all you need to give thanks for. Or whatever it is you're most grateful for in this moment. Say from your heart, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Nike.
And thank you all for following along with that. Whether you're watching on the replay or live, let us know how are you feeling compared to before we started that short round of breathing. Just let us know how you feel now.
Out of this world.
I'm feeling great, man. I feel nice, light, very grounded now. I feel very connected to the earth and feels really good. I feel great. I mean, the body feels grounded. The energy feels wide open. That's how I feel. So I feel very complete. I feel all three things. I can feel my body, I can feel my mind, and I can feel my spirit. I can feel all three things. And I feel very good. Like, to me, that's when I can get into this state. To me, that's beauty, man. That's the most beautiful thing, because it's good. I like going out and just being far away in the void. I like going in and feeling like working out. That's very into the physical aspect of the heavy part of the body. And then I like being into the psychology of things. So when I can find my balance through breathing in between all three positions, that's when I feel really, really good. I feel great right now.
Well, just speaking of being grounded, but then also very connected to spirit, I always like the image of the tree, where the deeper the roots go, the higher the branches of the tree can grow. Same thing with spirit. The more grounded you are, the more connected you are, the more elevated you can be, the further out you can go into spirit. Another metaphor I've heard is like it's like a trampoline, where people don't want to do grounding work before they go off and journey or something. That's a big mistake, because if you do the grounding work and then you launch off, then you come back and ground again. It's like a trampoline, where the higher you go up, but then you come back down and ground.
Rebound.
You hit that trampoline, and then you're going to go even higher the next time. So yeah, I like that metaphor too.
Cool. I never heard the trampoline one. I like that. I like that thinking.
I got that from a book. I like that book. It was one of the first books that introduced me to the idea of shamanism.
Yeah.
It's like something like exploring. I don't remember the title, but it was by Hilary S. Webb. Was the name of the lady. But it was just a really simple book. It wasn't like too much talking about any particular tradition or anything. It was just like her experience, and then it was more like a practical guide. Like, here's a practice you can do. Try it out, and then have your own experience, and then here's the next thing you can try. And so that was a really cool book. I think it was like the Unlimited Healing Powers of Cosmos and Consciousness, Shamanic Healing, or something like that.
I love the title. Wow,
right?
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
So I have a question for you guys.
What?
Because I can leave my body so quickly through breath work now, when I'm guiding breath work, do I just not really breathe along with it? Because if I am in a breathwork session and I'm guiding, if I feel like if I'm still doing a lot of the breathwork myself, then I still leave. Yeah.
Well, that's difficult when you're teaching breath work.
Right.
So that's why I like getting on the live streams. Like, I like breathing with other people. I like when Casey leads me into breathing, because that gives me an opportunity to not be there, because there is a certain amount, like here, it just happened to Casey right there. He's like, well, I'm not sure where we're at. That's happened to me hundreds of times. I'm like,
I blasted. I had no idea. I didn't know if we were on the inhale hold, on the exhale hold, if we had finished afterward. I didn't know where we were.
That's where that blast off is really strong, is where you do that when you're doing that breathing, and then you're all oxygenated, and then your carbon dioxide's low, and then you go into that top apnea, full apnea hold, and then you drop down. When you drop down into that neutral apnea hold, bam, you can feel that. Whoa, like, I was sitting in my chair. If you watch the replay, you're probably going to see me almost fall over a little, because that happens to me every time. And I was open for that one. So the DMT hits right there. That's right where that DMT is, right in that drop off. And it's like, it's the most, like, I can't think of a word. Ecstasy is the word.
It's extremely pleasurable.
It's like, it's beyond any drug. It's beyond orgasm. It's beyond, I can't tell you what it's like. You'd have to experience it for yourself. But what I can tell you, and I can tell not you, but anyone else, I can tell you, if you keep continuing to practice it, it gets more intense. You get more control over it.
That
more
takes
and more.
it back to my question.
Yeah.
So Mary, so here's what I will do sometimes. So because if it's the actual breathing part itself, I'm assuming you're not leaving while it's on the holds where you're leaving. Mm-hmm. So what I will do sometimes, so for example, if we're doing an inhale hold, even if it's before an exhale hold or whatever, is I'll tell them, I'll show them, take a deep breath, but then I'll kind of like discreetly, I'll blow like half my air out so that I'm not actually doing a full hold.
Okay.
Yeah, there's two ways. You can also do instructions. You can give a little instruction, a little guidance into their breathing, like ask them, take them into an awareness of something you want them to look at, something they should feel or sense or see. You can take them into that. And the first thing that comes to me with you is think about water shots. Think about back when I was an alcoholic and I'd buy the whole bar shots, and you're like, well, I don't want to get drunk. So you're like, hey, I'll take a water shot. So basically take a water shot. Don't take the whole
okay,
and hold and squeeze, kind of back off a little bit.
I like that metaphor a lot.
That's the first thing is Spirit came on our show. I was like, hey, remember water shots? I'm like, yeah, I remember.
I got it. It pays to be friends with bartenders.
Yeah. So does that answer the question for you about?
Yeah, because it is a big thing for me, because I do, just like you, that happens to me more and more now, where I'll lose are we on an exhale? Are we on an inhale? I'll say the wrong one. Like,
I think that's okay. If that happens, that happens. Don't feel bad. Just keep, it happens to me all the time. It happened to me the other day when we were doing one we had an event the other day at that salon. Yeah. And I blasted off. I went too far. I was taking it all, because it's also the energy of the people around you.
Right.
So even if you're not trying, sometimes like, oh, it got me. And then you just kind of like, okay, that's just what happened. You're not sure where the breath is. You just continue. Just continue into whatever comes to you. Like, okay, this is where we're going now, and continue.
So if you notice, I have this built-in mechanism, this automatic response that happens. If when I blast, and sometimes I've done it too, where I'm not even guiding anyone, but like I'll blast off, I'm not sure where I am, and then I just go, just feel all of the sensations in your body.
Yeah.
Like, I have that programmed.
You're giving yourself, you're saying out loud your own program. Like, just relax, feel all the sensations.
Yeah.
Well, I've done that on stream where like I blast off into where I don't know if I'm streaming, if I'm watching, if I have an independent one-on-one client, I just know there's a camera in front of me or something, and so I just feel your body. And then it gives me, and I'm like, just feel all the sensations, relax into it. And then that gives me time to kind of process and catch up and go, okay, this is where I am. This is what's going on. Yeah. But I have caught myself. I've been like just by myself on the couch, not on a stream or anything, just breathing for myself. And then I'll blast off and I'll just go, just relax, feel all the beautiful sensation. I'm talking to no one right now.
You're not no one.
That's funny. Oh, man. That's funny.
Oh, Vinny's here. Check it out. We got some comments.
Hey, Vinny. Mike says hi.
Hey, Mike. Hi, Mike.
Vinny says,
hey, what's up, Vinny?
Hi, Vinny.
That's about the actual size of Vinny's little Italian hands as well. Thanks, Vinny. I love you.
I love you, Vinny.
Thanks for being here, buddy.
Yeah.
There was something I was going to say about
that Thai food you took us
for. Well, here, let me pull your string. My God. There you go.
Yeah, that was good. So we there's this place, Thai Spice, near us is the name of it, and I forgot how good this place was. Well, one, I was vegan for like 3 years, and now I'm not anymore. And so there's all these places I forget. I'm like, where can I eat now? I don't know where I can eat. I've forgotten all these places that I can eat. And so we were all getting kind of hungry after we did this healing ceremony and all this stuff. And they're like, I don't care where we eat. And I'm like, all right, well, so I was kind of looking on my phone, like food near us. I'm like, oh, dude, I haven't been to Thai Spice in forever. And it's amazing. The food's really affordable there, but like the presentation and everything is kind of really incredible. The quality of the food is really good. The food
was excellent. Mm-hmm. It was so good.
I got these dumplings and they came out. They were all like stacked together, really pretty with like cilantro on top and like a bowl of like sauce. It looked really, it was like high quality restaurant presentation for $5-6.
Yeah, it looked like a good $24 to me as well. I was thinking about $24 to $34.
Yeah. And it's really good.
Perfect.
Yeah, it was really good quality food, man. Yeah, they're pad Thai. Their pad Thai is excellent. They do that. Like, you know, that's kind of, you go to a Thai place like pad Thai is. I think that's kind of an indicator of how a Thai place is as a whole. As how is their pad Thai? It's one thing you have to try.
Pad Thai.
And I remember trying one from a different place just that I lived by in North Royalton. I was like, oh, I'm going to go to that Thai place and get pad Thai. You know, I'm going to love it. Oh no. It was it was not good, so I never went back there. But I definitely agree with you. You could probably judge what their restaurant is like and their food is like by their pad Thai.
Not all pad Thais are created equal. Not all pad Thais are created.
No, they're not.
Either are pizzas. Segue.
Oh yeah, pizzas. Since we're talking pizzas, anybody in the west side of Cleveland should check out Chatty's Pizza in Bay Village on Detroit. It's across the street from Huntington Beach over by Bay Arts. It looks like it's in this little red house. It is spectacular. This guy went and traveled through multiple states looking for the perfect crust because he wanted to be able to make crust in-house, but he couldn't make it happen. It just wasn't happening. And they have a very small area, small kitchen and everything to work in. But so he decided to travel and find the perfect crust. And I think it was in Pennsylvania somewhere where he found this crust, and the crust is so good. They have different types of crusts, but their pizza is wonderful. I can't recommend it enough. Right now, they have a special that is just a bunch of stewed vegetables together, and it is so good.
Chatty's Pizza, y'all.
Yeah, Chatty's Pizza.
So I remember when we were Huntington Beach, not California, because there's a Huntington Beach, California. Yeah. Huntington Beach, Bay Village, Ohio. I didn't know there were all these hiking trails that you could go. I mean, I knew there were hiking trails. Like when I was younger, we used to hike around there. And in my old reality, there was maybe like a half a mile loop you could do, and that was about all the hiking you could do back there. And I was talking to Tony, and he's like, dude, you can hike for miles back there. I'm like, where can you hike for miles? I've never seen that. So I go with him finally, and we're hiking. I'm like, I've never seen all this. One of the things we hiked past was the Bay Arts District area where the Chatty's Pizza is. And we're walking through, and I'm kind of just, enjoying, not really thinking. And I'm looking, I'm like, are we in some, are these people's houses? Are we in a development? Like, where did you wander into?
You thought we were in somebody's yard. You looked all nervous. Like, are we going to get arrested? We're walking the dog through here. It's people's yard.
There's like an art gallery over there and stuff. So, but they are in these big old houses over there.
Yeah.
You're walking through people's yards.
Yeah, it does. It just looks like you're walking through a quaint, nice little old neighborhood. And but all the houses are businesses and
things, so. Yeah. Super cute little spot over there.
It's cool. Yeah. There's a lot of hidden gems around here, a lot of things that people just there was actually this show, I can't remember which I think it was on like PBS or something, but it was I don't know the name of it, but the gist of it was places in Ohio that you can go and have like a really cool vacation or day trip or experience on one tank of gas. Like places you can get.
That was on Fox 8.
There was also Del Donahue.
Yeah.
He used to do
Channel 3.
That was Channel 3 a long time ago. There was a guy named Del Donahue.
Yeah.
I don't think he's alive anymore, but he used to do, I used to watch it as a kid. He used to do one tank trip and he used to go all these gems, right? Is that what you're talking about? Or
yeah, it is. Yeah. And so it's amazing how much stuff is around here. I mean, just in our area alone, so I live in Rocky River, Ohio. They're in Westlake, Ohio, and so we're kind of in the it's like considered the greater Cleveland area, but we're in the suburbs. Yeah, we're in the west side kind of suburbs, and just within this area alone, I mean, there's beautiful sections of forest that you can go walk through. There's like the little Bay Arts District. There's downtown Rocky River. There's a marina. You can go kayaking.
We gotta sue you new stuff.
Yeah, Lake Erie, man. We've got Lake Erie, one of the globally recognized feminine nature spirit of Lake Erie. Like all this stuff so close to us. It's really an amazing area. And it's funny because when I was a kid, I remember there was a joke, and I just saw a meme of it recently. There was this meme, and it was like, Reasons to Live in Ohio. It's this big book. The guy opens it. It's all blank except for family. No, I know, because when I was a kid, it was the same thing. Everyone was like, in high school, everyone's like, I just can't wait to get out of Ohio. Ohio sucks, man. There's nothing to do here. And like, I never really had that feeling. I always liked it here, but everyone around me it was like the popular thing is like, Ohio sucks.
That's common everywhere, I think, because it has nothing to do with where you're at. It happens to do where that's at, right?
Exactly. They think that by escaping their environment where they're suffering, they're going to go somewhere else. Everything's going to be great.
Temporarily, it will be.
Really,
that's why vacation is so beautiful for a lot of people. That's why people say, I need a vacation. The idea to me is to create, like, I have a life now that I don't need a vacation from. I consider my traveling not an escape, but an addition to what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I remember though being caught in the grind of I get up, I go to work, I eat, sleep, shit, and I do it again. And that's it. It's the same thing over and over. And then you're working for the weekend. Everybody's working for the weekend. So you get to the weekend and now you're free. Friday feels so good because you get out of work. You want to know why? Because your awareness has changed.
Right.
Oh, dude. I remember even.
Go ahead.
I remember even working at the telemarketing company. It was, Monday through Friday, and every once or twice a month you had to work on Saturday too. But I remember, like, you'd be so excited for the weekend. Friday would hit.
Yeah.
Time to get drunk, man. Like, so excited. I'd be so excited to start drinking, just getting hammered with my friends. It was like, and then you get hammered, you get wasted the whole weekend, and then you're like hungover, and then Monday starts, and you just repeat that process over
and then you're happy if you get like a day off. Like, I got a day off. I'm getting hammered tonight. I'm escaping this reality big time, bro.
It's amazing. And I remember my cousin, he lived out in Colorado. He lives in Chicago now, but he lived out in Colorado. He's lived all over the country. But he was living in Colorado at the time, and I remember he came in town, And he's like, it's such a different culture out in here in Ohio, where like, you know, the majority, like our family, a lot of Irish people, you know, stereotypically they like to drink, and
Father McBride.
it's true in my family. But it's funny because he's like, you know, I come into town and I'm like, hey, what are you guys doing this weekend? Yeah, we're gonna go to the bar. You know, we're gonna go over to my friend's house. We have some beers. You know, watch the game, whatever. And he's just like, it's the weirdest thing. It's like all anyone talks about. Like the weekend comes and they're like, hey, it's time to drink.
Yeah.
And where he's like, out in Colorado, it's different. Like out in Colorado, I'm sure that exists in certain communities, but he said for the most part, you know, people would work during the week or whatever, and on the weekend they're like, hey, we're gonna go hike one of the mountains. We're gonna go kayaking. We're gonna do, you know, something. Go out and get out because there's, and so it's just kind of like, also, you know, it's where you live. Certain areas, the culture is going to be a little bit different. But then he was telling me that, and yeah, I'm like, dude, there's so much to do around here, though. You know, like we have all these forests. We have a national forest like right next door to where we live, a national park. You know what I mean? With I read there was over 300 miles of trails in Cuyahoga Valley National Park. Also, I don't know if you guys knew that. 300 miles.
Amazing. I know that we were at one of our healing events in Berea one time, and there was a woman there who had just moved back to Ohio. She had lived in all kinds of different states, beautiful states. And she said, I don't know why people hate Ohio so much.
I don't.
And she said, coming back here has made me so happy to be in like the metro parks, which we were in the metro parks for this healing session. But she said, we have like the most beautiful forests and parks here. And then we have the lake. And that reminds me of when we were in Sedona for a week. We were in Sedona for a week, and we're always up by Huntington Beach walking the dog and stuff in those trails. And to be away from the lake for a week, and be away from water. I mean, we found a river to go into when we were in Sedona, but to be away from like a giant body of water and then to come back to it, it made my appreciation for it grow even more. Like, wow, we have this giant lake that we live 5 minutes from. Like,
and also it's funny because people who live around here, we have a different definition of lake than people in other parts of the country.
Right.
Like other people. Yeah, because there are smaller lakes, and then to us, we'd be like, "Oh, that's not a lake; that's a pond."
That's a pond, yeah.
Yeah.
So what? How about that? Do you know? I don't know the answer. What is the defining difference between a lake and a pond?
I don't know.
There we go. There's a question for our next live stream with the Space Shaman.
Chat, come on in. Chat, you guys got to get us. People in the chat, let us know what's the difference between a lake and a pond.
Can you tell us what is the defining feature between a pond and a lake? Yeah. And I just had an awareness. I looked at Vinny has some more comments, and now I know why people hate Cleveland, and that's the Browns.
That's it. That's the whole reason.
I figured it out. Well, I have to say there was times when I was unconscious, when I was unaware, when my awareness wasn't here, when I was unawakened, that I thought running away from here was going to make things better too. I think that's a common thing. I think escapism, just period, is common in the human mindset, in the unawakened human mindset.
Well, that's why when people go on vacation, they're so present while they're on vacation. That's why they feel so good and stuff, and then they come back home and they don't know how to be present.
Yeah, it's just like the new car, the new relationship, the new job, all those same things. It's the honeymoon phase of all things. And that's what the honeymoon phase is. It's a different stage of awareness, and it takes time. Like, we're still on our honeymoon phase, and it's only 12 and a half years or something. But that happens. It's just it's a different it's an awareness thing. It becomes awareness because when it's new, your awareness is different. And then what happens is who you really are, and your unhealed parts start coming to the surface. You're bouncing them off each other, and it becomes a mirror, and then it gets crazy. No way.
No Browns.
Fantastic, brother. Thank you, Vinny.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just saw that come through, and I had to throw it up there.
That made my day. That's it. I'm done. This is over.
That's funny.
So, oh crap, man! I do that thing all the time where I have the thought, I do a thing, and then it just goes away. Man, I don't know where I was. Dang it! Poof, the Magic Dragon showed up.
I know where we're at. We're right here on this live stream.
Is that where we are? What is a live stream anyway? What is
it?
What is streaming?
What is streaming? Basically putting information out into a electronic forum is what we're doing. We're using an electronic means of creating.
What's all that?
What is all that?
What is all that?
It's part of this reality.
What's this reality?
Parts of this reality. What?
What's this reality?
An illusion.
What's an illusion?
What is I?
Non-real. Well, see, what you'll end up at the paradox, where it's the question is the answer and the answer is the question. That's the number 8 on its side. So
yeah,
it goes beyond human understanding. So the real answer, Casey, we won't know until we're out of this body completely.
Well, see, I don't know about that. There's this thing a lot of people say, right? It's a common thing where, and it's unawakened people who always say it, but they say, like I'll say things like, well, I know what's happening. And I have memory of what happens in between lives. I know where I'm going after this life, all that stuff. And they say, but you can't know. We can never know what the afterlife actually is. We can never know until we die. I say, well, I disagree, because I can leave, I can travel in those realms and have those experiences while I'm here in the physical, because I am a spirit in a physical body. So I have access to all that information.
Sort of. But your recollection of it comes through your instrument that you're at here. So your memory of it, you're talking about it right now. It's happening through the instrument. So you're not separated from the instrument. So it's unsure really what you're experiencing, how much of it is happening through the nervous system and how much of it is happening through actual interaction, because you can't really sense anything without this thing. So yeah, I see what you're saying. That gives us a paradox. There's another paradox. There's two things happening there because it depends on what you're willing to accept or believe, I guess is what it comes down to.
Well, because for me, our senses, our ability to sense, feel, experience reality is primary. It exists first in spirit, and we're only able to have those experiences in a physical body because we have the hardwiring in spirit to pilot our physical body.
We have a nervous system to take in the frequency.
Yeah, and some people say, especially when they start out, it's like, well, how do you, if you see a spiritual being, you're having communication with spirit, how do you know that's real? How do you know you're not just making that up? And to them, I ask, well, how do you know you're not just making me up right now?
I am.
What do you mean? Well, I know, but play along. Play along.
I'm sorry.
So to them, I asked, how do you know you're not making me up? And they just kind of like, what? So I said, well, do you have to sit here? And as I'm talking to you, every single time you meet a new human being, do you have to go through this checklist in your head and say, okay, well, it looks a certain way, the way the lighting's coming into my eyes, it's a certain kind of frequency, and the way the sound's coming into my ears is a certain sensations. Like I can tell based on that and the frequency coming. No, you don't go through all that. You just know. When you're talking to a person, you just know that there's a person in front of you. You know it's real.
You believe.
And in the same, it's just a no. There's no thought. There's no concept. There's no mental process you go to figure out what's real or not. You just know.
Not everybody's going to think that way. So that for me, there is that thought. There actually
is. Every human being you go through, you have to question whether or not they're corporeal or not.
What's that?
For every single person that you meet, you go to the grocery store, you meet a cashier.
Well, I don't question it. I know they're not real. I don't question it. I'm aware that it's not real.
Yeah, but
I have an awareness that it's not real.
But you're not coming from the same place that the unawakened person.
I'm just saying I can't be the only one. I can't be. So the other thing too that came forward to me is what you're describing when you're leaving and you're having out-of-body experience is different layers of consciousness of life is what that is. Beyond that, as you know, is nothing. It's stillness. Mm-hmm. So at that point, so I can see that too. So through that, like you're going to take in some information in that way. But so what you're saying is when you're saying about the other forms in which you go place those things, those are just different layers of your actual existence of what you are. So you're not really dead yet. You're not back to the mystery, I guess. The mystery isn't unfolded yet. That's just a different level of living. So like for most people, you say, well, what thing happens when you die? Well, you don't know until you die, but you have a good idea. Like you have a great idea you don't know what it's going to be like to die in your body yet because you don't know what it's like. You haven't felt that body, this form of you die yet. And when you do, you're going to go to another layer of living, correct?
Mm-hmm. But I would also say that if you can, and if it is possible to know anything at all, like even what 2 + 2 = 4, if it's possible to know that, then I can I can know what happens when I die.
Well, I don't know that because someone just told me that. So I don't know that that's true. I can't tell you in my heart that I know that that's true. I know that that's an idea that's been given to me. That's a concept that's been given to me.
So that's what I mean. So is it so that comes down to, is it possible to actually know anything?
No.
Right.
Not really. No.
Right. Exactly.
You can pretend.
Right. Right.
I don't know nothing, man. Don't listen to me. Whatever.
But in the but on the scale of the way that we use the word no, the way that the average person uses the word no, if I can know, if I can know that I have a bed over there, if I can know that, if the leaf falls off of that tree, gravity is going to work to pull it to the ground unless something gets in the way, then I can know what happens outside of the physical. I can know what happens after.
An assumption. You're assuming it's going to hit the ground.
Yeah.
How do you know? How do you know that? Because you're creating the world, right? So,
right. We're coming back to the same thing. You can't know anything.
Right.
But
here it is. It's that figure 8 on its side again. Can you know? No. Can you? Yes. No. Yes. No. It's yes and it's no. That's the mystery. Do you see?
It's yes, then it's no. It's hot, then it's cold.
Oh no, not Katie.
In and you're out.
Yeah.
I just saw a comment from Mike, and he said backdrop people. And I'm thinking he's meaning, like, does that mean like just people in the background? Because they're not real unless if you.
So I'll just say, this is Magic Mike. And Magic Mike, one of the reasons he's called Magic Mike is that he experiences reality in like multiple different like timelines and things all at once. So it's really interesting to have a conversation with him because he'll say something, and at the time you're like, that doesn't make any sense. What are you talking about? And then something will happen like 5 days later, and it was what he was talking about, but he was seeing it happen then. And it was like 5 days, and then 5 days later something happens. You're like, oh, that's what he was talking about. Yeah. So it's kind of, so you never really know with Magic Mike.
I love talking to Mike because
that's one of the fun things.
Connect to what he's doing most of the time. I just sit there. It's not so much I listen to what he's saying. I try to feel what he's bringing there, and he does. He is a magical dude, man, for sure.
Yeah, he is for sure.
And thank you, Magical Mike.
And then Dolores Cannon.
Who's
not
that?
Sure.
I don't know what that is, but we'll find out. Thanks, Mike.
That's one of
he's
those.
Giving us his trail of breadcrumbs.
Right.
He's creating some sort of map for us. I see. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Nice.
Oh, I totally missed this. We had some comments come through from Melissa Smith saying, "Hey guys, and then, do you guys travel out of state to do group sessions?
Anything can be arranged.
Yeah. Fly us out somewhere. If you want to fly us out somewhere, we'll do it.
Get a hold of Casey. Tell us what you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do it.
I like to travel, so
yeah, traveling's fun. I try to.
That's the plan is to get to a point where we are traveling.
That's what we want to do. We want to go everywhere and help everyone everywhere.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, this is why we're doing this, man. We're spreading. We're creating all this amazing, beautiful, fun, conscious content because we want to have the ability to generate all of the abundance that we need to help as many people as we need wherever we are, so that we can travel, go places, put on these big group events, set up healing centers all around the country, all around the world, and do all this stuff. But it starts with getting this out there, spreading it to all the people. And so this is why we're doing it.
Google Dolores Cannon, he says. All right, I will. Thanks, Mike. I told you something important.
You guys want to do another round of breathing real quick?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. So let's do, what do I want to do? Let's do the alternating between do I want to do, do you think 4 shorts, 1 long is a little too difficult to just jump into for some people watching?
I don't think it's too bad.
Okay. So this is a little bit of a more advanced breath technique. And what I'm going to say is if you are more practiced, you have more control over your breath, then do your best to kind of follow along with the actual technique. If you're new to breath work, don't worry about it, because you're going to be screwing it up. You're going to be getting the wrong number of breaths. You're going to be off pace, all this stuff, because it's really, it's kind of like learning a new drum pattern. You know, when you first start, it's going to be really awkward. And you're going to miss. You're going to be off beat, and then it just becomes muscle memory after a while, and then you don't have to think about it. But when you're first doing it, this particular breath technique is a little more dynamic, can be a little. They can take a little bit of training. It can take a little bit of neurological reprogramming in order to be able to do it kind of effortlessly.
Okay.
So, if you're new, if you haven't done this technique before, just do your best. I see your face there, Tony. Do your best to just follow along. Don't worry about getting the number of breaths right. Just breathe. That's the most important thing. But this technique is called 4 shorts, 1 long. So it is 4 fast breaths and then a slow breath repeatedly. And so this is where people get tripped up, is where does the inhale start? Or am I starting this slow one, the inhale or the exhale, all this stuff?
That would be me.
Yeah. Oh, it's everybody. So I'll do it really slow. So I'll do a slow down version. So you start out with an empty lung, and then you inhale.
Yeah.
And then there's the long one. And then the next fast one starts, etc.
Okay.
So I do it fast. If I do it fast, it's like this.
Okay.
So 4 fast breaths, 1 long breath.
So I think the most confusing thing for people is the sound. So not everyone has the same sounding breath as Casey does. He has a kind of sound, so that throws you off a little bit. So try not to listen as much as feel. Try to keep your mind on just 4 inhales. It's
right.
Don't worry about that. His exhale will throw you off because how loud it is. It's a he's a Paco, so he's got a Fukui power.
Yeah.
It all comes out. So what happens is I think that's, for me, that's what throws it off if I'm listening too much. If I stop listening and I start feeling, then it falls right in, because then it's just, you're just falling into 4 inhales and a long inhale.
Okay.
4 inhales and a long inhale. So starting, we're just going to jump right into it.
Let's do it.
3, 2, 1. Deep breath fully in and hold. Exhale to a neutral lung. And just hold your breath with your lungs empty. Just feel all the sensations in your body. Deep breath fully in. More air, more. Relax your neck and shoulders. Hold. Slowly exhale. That one felt so good. I just didn't want to stop holding, but I was like, some people are going to be waiting for me to say exhale. So I said,
they won't have a choice after a little bit. It's okay.
Oh, I went deep into the space.
Either stop holding or you pass out and you stop holding anyways. So.
Yeah. So either way, it works itself out. Vinny says, unfortunately, I am ill. Haven't been sick since 2019. Going to have to pass on this one. He was talking about the breathing.
Vinny, get into a daily breathwork practice, my brother. That'll help you from getting these problems. What's going on, and it's normal. So I'm assuming that you have not had a daily breathwork practice for a long time. So that's something I would venture into. I have had absolutely zero respiratory illness at all in just about 3 years now.
Me too.
So how cool is that?
Yeah.
So anything's possible. And that's not coming from someone that I didn't rarely get ill. I was ill perpetually. I was sick all the time. I always had nasal problems, sinus problems, allergy problems, COPD, chronic bronchitis, colds, you name it. I had everything going on all the time. So I'm living proof that if you make this kind of thing part of your life, it changes everything. And that, that's for everybody. You too, right?
Oh, yeah.
How about you, Casey? When's the last time you had any respiratory illness?
So I don't know if I've said this on stream. If not, I'll say it again because who cares? But I was telling you guys this, I know, in person. But it was funny because I actually went back on my channel and I watched a video that I made about a year ago, I want to say. And it was when I had been aware of breathwork for actually many, many years. I've been aware of breathwork for like 10 years, but I'd never made it an actual.
Yeah, practice. But you didn't make it a practice, right?
Yeah.
I was aware. We all know about breathing, but practice is a different thing, right?
Well, I mean, I discovered holotropic breathwork and did holotropic.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about it.
10 years ago.
I knew about all these things. I tried it once or twice, but it wasn't like when you really do it.
Yeah, it's a totally different thing. So this was when I was starting to apprentice under our teacher, Zane, and learn breathwork. And at the time I had done a couple of sessions with him, but it still wasn't a daily thing. And then I got sick.
I don't think Zane describes it as a daily thing. I don't think he actually I've never heard him describe it that way. So that might be why.
So I didn't remember this, but I watched this video of me talking about it. And in this video, I said that I had been doing a little bit of breath work and then I got really sick and I had no energy to the point where I would get up in the morning and I'd be like, I have to go shower, get something to eat or something. We could walk out of bed, take like 5 steps. I'm so exhausted. I turn right around and lay down in bed and go back to sleep. I was like really, really ill. And then I was like, I can't do anything, but I can at least breathe. So I might as well put on one of our classes with Zane and just go through a breathing session.
And already,
so I did an hour-long breathwork session. And again, I for days I've been ill. I was still ill. I couldn't get out of bed because I was so sick. I did this hour-long breathwork session, and then afterwards I was like, "Oh, I have energy." And then I got up and I was doing things, and I'm like, "Is this for real? Like I don't feel sick." I was like, "I'm sick. I was so sick I couldn't get out of bed an hour ago. I breathed for an hour. I have my energy back, and I don't feel sick anymore."
Yeah.
And then and there was still this thing in mind. I'm like, well, is it going to wear off or something? Yeah. And then I'm going to be sick again. It just never came back. And I was just over my whatever illness I had like that.
Yeah.
And that's what made it click for me. And then I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. It's like I told you, like we had in the same conversation, I believe. We were talking about how we first understood how it works is when everybody else at Thanksgiving got the flu. Yeah. And we got a call like this guy's got the flu. This one's got the flu. And we were both like, I do feel a little sick. Oh, let's do what we've learned through breath work. And we started breathing. Boom, went right away. And then I had like 2 minor colds try to start. Like it didn't even really evolve into a full cold. I just was aware. I'm used to how they feel coming on. And I felt it coming on. I used the breath and it went away. Because that's another thing. We'll go back to even Vinny's comment. Unfortunately, I'm ill. I haven't been sick since 2019. I have to pass on this one. That's what you don't want to do. You actually want to breathe more. If you're sick, you want to oxygenate the body. You want to bolster that immune system. You don't want the mind to tell you, I'm sick, I can't breathe. No, that's when you need it. Whenever you're feeling fucked up in the head, physically, whatever it is, that's when breath work really shines for you. That's when it really comes out and saves. It's always when I don't really get sick, but what happens, like is, say I have mental activity, say there's anxiety comes forward and it feels kind of tight and heavy. I can just start breathing and I know how to fix that. I know what it does. And we can do that for all sorts of illnesses, whatever kind of illness you really got going on. You can make it a lot less, because it's not so much what's happening, the effects of the illness. It's the thinking and emotion and energy surrounding it.
Right.
So if you can kind of break that loose, the rest kind of falls away for a lot of the time. Not always, but I think most of the time.
Yeah, going back to what you were saying. Go ahead, Mary.
The mind will play that trick on you. The mind will convince you that you shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the cold showers and stuff. It's like, but when that mind is really trying to talk you out of doing it because I'm sick or I don't feel good or whatever the excuse is, that is when you need it the most.
Let me clarify, no cold showers if you have respiratory illness. Do not take cold showers with respiratory illness. That will make you sicker. But you do want to breathe. So if you're doing that kind of thing, doing a Wim Hof method, doing that kind of thing, it's advisable always to cut your cold water and then add more breathing, add more oxygenation to the body.
So going back to what you were saying about how you felt kind of the start of like an illness and then it kind of went away. So for me, breathing is just kind of an automatic part. It's like almost like a habit now. Where I just wake up in the morning, I breathe. Throughout the day, I do breathing like multiple times. Sometimes I'll do like 10, 15 rounds of breathing a day.
How about just your awareness of breath? Are you aware of it most of the time? Are you aware when you're walking, doing anything like, oh, I could change my breathing? You can feel the change in energy. Something happens. You can just slow your cadence down.
Yeah.
So that is where the true mastery of breath is when it's constantly, when you're very well open to it all the time.
So what I was going to say though, is I've had the same thing happen where there's been a few days where I've woken up and I'm like, ooh, I kind of, it's the feeling of starting to get sick. And I'm like, oh, I'm coming down with something. I'm almost like, oh, I got a client I got to see in person tomorrow. Am I going to have to reschedule them? Well, I'll just wait and see how I feel. And not even because I'm trying to get over an illness or anything, but I'll just out of my habit, like, okay, well, it's time for my morning shower. So I do my breath work before I shower, do my cold shower. And then I'll do my round of breathing and I'll sit there. And then I'll just notice, I'll be like, wait a minute, I was kind of feeling sick before and I don't now. Then I'll make the connection of, oh, it happened after I breathe. And then I always have that thought of like watching these interviews with Wim Hof talking about how he was injected with E. coli and was doing his breathing and his body had no reaction to the virus. It just passed right through him. Right. And I'm like, I think, like, dude, that's to
Which
me,
is amazing, right?
Yeah, to me, it's like it's proof of what he's saying in my own mind through what's happening in my body. Like I can feel it happen.
And the best part is it's not the only kind of breath work that you can do to elicit the same results. That's just the one he uses. Like a lot of people.
I rarely do Wim Hof breathing either. It's
it's circular breathing. You do. It's Tumo. You're doing it all the time. It's just not. You don't call it that. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's just there's many different ways to breathing, and you don't want to get really stuck and pigeonholed into one style because you limit yourself on what kind of growth you can have. Yeah. All right, we're on hour 32, man. I think we should get ready to wrap her up. What do you think?
All right. Yeah, sounds good to me.
It's time for Tony's exercise. I need my exercise.
Okay, good. So, let me just throw a couple things up here real quick then.
Yes, sir.
So, so you can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/thespace-shaman.
Space Shaman.
And that looks like this for all of you who are interested. So there's the Space Shaman. So you got these different levels here of things. Spread the love, free the masses, wake up the world. And like there's different kind of perks that come along with them, and things like that. But the gist of it is that in subscribing to Patreon, you're going to be helping to support us to not only create more conscious content like this, but also to help heal those who are in need who may not be able to afford a full session. All of this money goes towards just spreading more healing and freeing people of suffering who are in need. If you're interested in booking a session with me, you can go to www.shamanswayhealing.com. If you're interested in booking a session with Tony and Mary, www.thespace-shaman.com. thepositivepineapple.org. Check out the Positive Pineapple.
Both of us, we can do that too. All of us, we can do that.
Let's do it, man. I'd be good, dude. Some tandem healing sessions. That sounds super fun.
They're fantastic. We've done some already. It's great.
We have. Yep, it's awesome.
Fantastic. I mean, we do a lot of healing, tandem healing within our own little circle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that, like yesterday, our whole little healing session yesterday, cool. That was a tandem healing. We're all relying on each other's energy and communication to create healing.
Yeah,
that's miracles, man. That's how miracles happen.
It really is. That was awesome. It was so we had a little powwow healing thing. It came through to me from Spirit after I had a soul retrieval night before last, and it just showed me this thing that me, Tony, and Mary were going to do when we got together, where we sat in a circle, holding hands, speaking our truth about what's going on, and then facilitating healing for each other. And it was just as beautiful as Spirit showed me it was going to be.
Yeah,
it was really incredible. So so much is possible. Other than that,
real quick, we'll be at the Gratitude Holistic Fair this Saturday from 10 to 6 in Westlake at Unity Spiritual Center. It's free if you bring a non-perishable food item. I think there's over 40 vendors now.
Yeah, all kinds of awesome stuff.
All kinds of people coming in. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to interacting with a bunch of people.
Yeah, we're going to have a few guided breath sessions as well in there because we have a room and they'll be like on time slots. So you'll be able to sign up for a time slot to sit in on a shamanic breath session. Because along with this breath session, I'm going to not just do breath. I'm going to add some shamanic energy practices into it as well. So it's really interesting. It's good. It's healing. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and stop by our table because we're going to have a raffle. We're going to be raffling off a free private healing session and a gift bag.
Yeah.
With lots of goodies.
Yeah. So come out. Awesome. Thank you. Polar Plunge Saturday at 10 a.m. too. Sunday at 10 a.m. If anybody wants to do that. I bet you Casey will be there. How are you going to be there, Casey? 10 a.m. Sunday. We're going to be jumping that lake some more. We're going to go to the beautiful Lake Erie over at Huntington Beach. We'll be at the at staircase, I think number three. So that's the one that's furthest west in the beach, and we'll just go down there. We'll do a little bit of this and that, hop in the water, have a good time, jump back up.
Sounds delicious.
Delicious.
All right, you guys know what to do. Hit the subscribe button, smash that comment or whatever you do.
You know what to do.
Comment, subscribe, hit the like button, share the video with your friends and family, and just spread the love, all the good things. I love you guys. I love all of you guys.
I love all of y'all. And if you don't breathe, breathe. And if you do breathe, breathe some more.
Thank you so much for being here. Breathe and be loved. Anaiki Kuyaki. Arpi Chai Songkol.
Arpi Chai Songkol.